If you're a content creator and you are making YouTube videos or podcasts or social media content and Instagram videos, whatever you're making, you want to make sure you can connect on an emotional level and really make a connection with likely customers, right? The subscribers to your channel or the people that you're telling your story to. And one of the most important parts of that is to get really crystal clear audio, transparent audio, right? You don't want people to hear the microphone. You want people to hear you and your story. That's how you make a relationship with your audience. That's how you can make an emotional connection when you tell your story. So audio is totally important. So if you've got great gear, you have connected things up right, you're excited to create your content, you've got a good audio interface, your room is all ready to go, your camera work looks great, but there's something about the audio that just doesn't sound right. It doesn't match up to maybe other content creators you see and hear and watch. What could it be if you feel like you're in that situation and your audio kind of sounds good, but it kind of sounds far away at the same time, or it just doesn't sound as present and upfront as some of the professionals that you hear? This video is for you. My name is Lenny B. I'm an audio engineer, and I help content creators and YouTubers and podcasters make a better connection with their audience by doing several things, but one of the main things is helping with audio, with a microphone, right? There are so many things that you need to do. And, so many people these days are just creating content in their bedroom, right? You've got a recording studio in your laptop these days, which is great. But there are little things, little audio engineering techniques and tips that really could separate you from, separate a beginner from a professional, right? Something that sounds consumer grade, and then something that just sounds like a major production. And that's what we want to do. I have an example I'm going to show you today. It is from a voiceover artist. His name is Maddie, and he's creating content. He's got great gear. He's got a Sennheiser MKH416 microphone. That is an industry standard for TV and film, and it's one of the most common microphones used by professional voiceover artists. He's using an Audient ID24, a fantastic digital audio converter and an audio preamp and audio interface for his computer. He's great. He's got great gear, but he is just not achieving the sound that he wants. And let me show you what he's working with. Now, this is my Logic Pro digital audio workstation. Don't worry if you don't understand what any of these buttons and knobs mean. Up on top here is the audio file. This is, and I'm going to play you some of his audio. And this is where you can add processing to optimize the sound. But really what I want to show you today is something that's going on in Maddie's raw audio capture. So let's listen to his raw audio. Now this is his voice captured in his room. It is going right to the microphone, directly to the computer. There's no plugins, there's no processing, there's no hardware or any kind of magic processing that's happening. This is what he is dealing with. Let's take a listen.
This is my raw voice before processing. I'm speaking normally at my natural distance from the mic.
Maddie's got a big voice, and it sounds really good. It sounds professional. It sounds like he's definitely in a good space. There's no long reflection echo sounds. I can tell he's using professional gear, his microphone and his audio interface. But I want to show you, after I add some EQ and some processing, I want you to hear the difference. And what's happening is the processing that I've added is going to allow you to hear his voice more present and more clear and more upfront. Let's listen again. I'm going to play the raw audio, and then I'm going to engage some of the processing. Specifically, I want you to see what I'm doing with this here. This is a parametric EQ. So I'm going to play you those first two phrases without the processing, and then I'll engage what I've done so you can hear the difference.
This is my raw voice before processing. I'm speaking normally at my natural distance from the mic. This is my raw voice before processing. I'm speaking normally at my natural distance from the mic.
Now, there's a big difference between the raw audio and the processing that I've done. So what I'm doing with the processing is balancing his audio. But really what I want to point your attention to today is how much compensating I am doing with this EQ. And this is the biggest issue. And this is such a common thing that happens in situations for content creators when you're capturing audio with a microphone. Look at this, this big compensating adjustment I've done here in the middle of the EQ. It's around 450 hertz. It doesn't matter what that frequency space is, but I want you to see how much I'm having to compensate. I'm having to lower the frequencies in this mid-range area to balance out Maddie's audio. This is because there's a frequency imbalance happening in the room. Now, let me explain that because this is really, really important. This is the biggest takeaway that I want you to capture from this video because this may be happening in your situation as well. When you record your voice and it's captured by a microphone, the mic is capturing your voice, but when your voice keeps traveling through the room, those reflection sounds bounce off the walls in your room and they also go back into the microphone. So what's happening is the microphone is picking up two things at the same time. And it's picking up your pure voice and those reflection sounds. That's being captured by the microphone. There's two different things now that are being recorded, and that's baked into the recording. So when you do EQ on top of that to fix something, you are compensating. You're working on those two sources at the same time. It's not the pure voice. Now, what you want to do, and the way to optimize your recording, is to allow your raw audio capture process. That means how you record your voice before it hits the microphone. You want to get pure voice and know you don't want to capture any kind of extra audio coming from the room. What's happening in Maddie's situation is the room is adding additional information to the recording. The room is adding his voice again in certain frequencies, and that is what's causing that big imbalance. And it's apparent here in how much EQ work I have to do. It's really good because when I EQ a voice and I see how much compensating is necessary in a certain frequency space, that right away alerts me to say, hey, he has additional information that's being captured by the microphone. No state-of-the-art EQ, no AI plugins are going to help fix this better than if he resolves the problem before it hits the microphone. That's the biggest thing that I want you to understand. When you get your raw audio capture solid and when you get that balanced before you even hit the microphone, so no other extra information is being added to the equation, that is going to sound better with a little bit of processing. It's going to sound way better than if you got a more expensive microphone, if you got a better audio interface, if you bought all of the plugins available out there. Using processing to do refining, sweetening, and shaping, and lightly using an EQ and compression and de-essing and saturation, lightly using those effects to refine and polish is going to give you a much better, much more present, much more clear result than if you have to use EQ and compression and all those extra things to compensate for something wrong that's happening in the raw audio capture. And this is a really great example. Now, let me play this for you again because it is a definite improvement, right? Here, let's first listen once again without the EQ work and the compression and all other compensating work that I'm doing, and I'll immediately engage the processing so you can hear the difference again.
This is my raw voice before processing. I'm speaking normally at my natural distance from the mic. This is my raw voice before processing. I'm speaking normally at my natural distance from the mic.
I'll be the first to admit that it is a optimization. It sounds really good. I mean, his voice is great. He's got great equipment, and it sounds pretty good to begin with. But after the processing, it makes it more clear. It makes it appear louder, even though it's not. It's it's at a very less than 1 dB off before the processing and after the processing. So that clarity that you're hearing, that processing is really giving balance. But what I want you to understand is I'm having to use these plugins like EQ and that where that big dip is. I'm compensating. I am fixing. I'm slapping a big Band-Aid on the raw audio capture, and then it's giving me a good result. But what I want you to understand is, if you resolve that issue first in the raw audio capture, the compensating can be used a lot less. I'd prefer to use the plugins and the processing to sweeten, and I don't have to put so much pressure on the audio with that EQ to scoop out that low end, because there's phase and there's a bunch of other complicated things that are happening. The bottom line, what I want you to know is, yes, this sounds good, but if we were to fix the issue in the raw audio capture, this processing can sound even better. So a lot of people come to me to help diagnose whether or not they have a raw audio capture issue. It could be a bunch of different things. It could be gain staging problems, frequency imbalances. There could be microphone configuration issues. There could be equipment setup connection issues and settings that can be the problem. Once you get that raw audio capture tight and optimized, then everything else downstream, meaning your microphone, the plugins that you're using, can sound even better. So if you feel like you are compensating or you're fighting EQ, that's really a common thing. It's like, hey, I'm trying to EQ this. I can make it sound better, but it still doesn't sound as good as it could. And it doesn't sound as good as some of the other people I hear online or I'm comparing myself to. It's usually and most often an issue in the raw audio capture. If you feel like you're fighting against something, send me your audio. Go to my website. It's lennyb.com, and there's a red button at the top of the homepage there. If you click that red button, you'll see a bunch of instructions, and you follow the really simple instructions to send me some audio. I'll diagnose it for you, and I'll let you know what you're up against, if custom processing and my EQ fixes could actually make it sound better. And I could also tell you if you've got something that needs to be fixed in the raw audio capture. This is the difference between amateur and professional. If you've been trying to figure out what is the little thing, what am I missing that's just not getting me to that next level, it could be something in the raw audio capture, and I'd be happy to help you.